Hello everyone and welcome, Spencer here. Today I am going to talk to you about optimizing your decks. And yes, there is a difference between optimizing and powering up your decks. So use Tuvasa the Sunlit here as an example for this. So Tavasa, she is green, white and blue. She's a 1/1. She's a legendary creature, Merfolk Shaman. She is the commander of this deck. She gets +1/+1 for each enchantment you control, and whenever you cast your first enchantment spell each turn, you draw a card. So that's just the first one. So she's kind of a bit of a card draw engine and also gets stronger for every enchantment that you play. So great stuff. Play more enchantments, draw more cards, she gets bigger. Now there's multiple ways of building Tavasa. People have built her in Voltron, people have built her just in Enchantments Matters types of things. I've built her more of a as Tavasa the Evasive. So I have got a couple of enchantments which give her unblockable or protection from creatures. So I want to play a bunch of enchantments out onto the board and she'll get bigger, and then I can drop one of these enchantments on her and then swing in for commander damage. That's my plan. Play 20 enchantments, give her evasion and get through, kill people that way. That's my plan. That's how I want to play her, that's how I've built her, that's how I enjoy playing her. Mainly because I enjoy still going through the attack step. Now, saying that, you'll see there's a Walking Ballista over here. That doesn't do the attack step. But that's also because this deck, in its current standard, in its current status, the way it's built at the minute, I'd say it's around about an 8. It's not super powerful, but it is a bit more than your average Joe. And I'm basing that on the fact that a precon is probably like a 5, something like that. You know, maybe a 6 depending on what precon you get. Then by the time you've chucked a couple of dollars into it, removed a few of the higher CMC stuff, you get it to about a 7. This is next level up from that. Okay, so that's kind of how I'm judging that power level. Not super optimized, not super powerful cards, but you know, a bit more than average. It's also because I'm familiar with the lines and how to play it as well, which can make it seem a bit scarier. And the more you play a deck, the more you'll be in situations where you're like, oh yeah, I've been here before, I don't deal with that, this is going to happen, I know my deck needs to do this. Okay, so yeah, but anyway, there is a theme of this deck in the sense that I'm trying to get everything to be enchantments. Now I'm never going to get all my creatures to be enchantment creatures. It's just not possible. There is a bunch of enchantresses themselves that aren't enchantment creatures, so that I'm never going to get all the creatures to be enchantments. But my ramp, my removal, I can get to be all enchantment based, which is a detriment to the deck, but also hopefully I'm going to prove to you with this deck and the few tweaks and changes I'm going to make that it can be optimized within those limitations and still function well and win games. So let's just take you through. First off, the deck, everything in it, it's all your standard enchantment-based stuff. So we've got Walking Ballista in here because it's... we'll do the creatures. We've got Walking Ballista in here because it's part of the Heliod Walking Ballista combo and just wins games, machine gun down your opponents. If you don't know the combo, I'll do it in another video at another point. Al said. Yes, just great protection for enchantment-based decks. If you're playing an enchantment deck and you have white, you probably want this because it can protect everything from your Destiny Spinner to stop your things not being countered, to protecting all the glitters. It's allowing your Tavasa to hit for lethal damage, you know? Great card, great protection. So, Walking Ballista, protection, life's bounty, outside life's bounty. Destiny Spinner just makes things can't be countered. Sanctum Weaver, mana, cost reduction, get draw cards, cost reduction, part of the winning combo with Walking Ballista. Ramp, because it allows me to play extra lands on my turn, also colour fixes me, mana fixes me, draws me cards. This is in here because I have Opalescence and Enchanted Evening, and I don't want my lands to die when I play those 2 cards, so that's why that's in here. Yes, Land Destruction is an absolute bugger. This one allows me to play lands from the top of my library. It's good. I don't know how much I like this one, but it's an enchantment creature, so it ticks 2 boxes, so it's still there. Master Enchantment, not an enchantment itself, but whenever one enters the battlefield, draw a card. Enchantment is battlefield, draw a card. Enchantment is battlefield, draw a card. Right, then we get to the top end of the curve. 4, 6, and 7. So, this deck is weak to flyers. I have no flyers in this deck. I have no way of gaining flying apart from with these. So Archon of Sun's Grace is a payoff for playing enchantments. So I get more and more Pegasi. They all have lifelink, so it allows me to stay in the game when it's a longer grindy out game type thing. So that's why that one's in there. Archetype of Imagination turns off everybody else's flying. They can't get to fly in, but I can. So allows me to swing, deal the damage, and also protect me from that not happening to myself. So, and the other one is Nylea's Colossus, which is just another great way of giving another creature more power, more toughness. So yeah, and it's an enchantment itself, so yeah, it's brilliant. Enter the battlefield, double Tuvasa's power. If she's already got all the glitters on her, then whee, you're laughing. So yeah, but I don't know if I'm tempted to remove some of these cards because they are quite high in the CMC cost of things, but we'll see how this deck continues to play out. I mean, at the minute it's okay, but I am going to potentially be removing some of my ramp cards. In terms of lands, I have a whole bunch of basics. I need to go through, once I finish making these changes, and counting up how many coloured pips of each colour I've got in my deck. So that's all the white pips, blue pips, and green pips in every spell's mana value, casting cost, CMC, whatever you want to call it. And then once I've done that, I'll work out the percentage. So if I've got 30% white, 40% blue, yeah, that's what, 70%, and another 30% in the green colour, then I know to split my mana base across those colours as well in the same percentage. And that's just not across the basics, that's across everything that taps for those colours. So I want to be able to tap with my mana base, 70% of my mana base should, 30% should be tapping for green, 30% should be tapping for white, and then the other 40% or whatever I said will be tapping for blue. So yeah, so that's what I need to do with my mana once I've finished making these tweaks. I currently have 35 lands. Seems a little low. Normally you expect 36, 37, but I were running a couple of artifacts and there was a few more ramp spells in here which are now coming out. So this could sting a little bit, but I do have some bits coming in. So that's all the basics done. I'll turn them over just so I know we've covered those off. Lands that fix. So yeah, Myriad Landscape, Terramorphic, Evolving Wilds. Who says they don't print fetch lands, people? Reliquary Tower, no maximum hand size. This deck can draw quite a few cards, so it's nice to have that, but it's not a requirement because it's always pretty easy picking your best 7 out of 14 cards or whatever you've got. Garenbrig and Vantress. Vantress is nice if you get stuck in the late game and your board's been wiped and you need to start scrying through to try and find a bit of an engine again to get back in the game. Garenbrig is just great because it allows you to cast the higher CMC stuff. Yes, it's 6 forests, but as you saw with these, you could use 4 of those for the archetype and 6, 7 of them, 6 for Nylea's Colossus, only having to tap 1 more. So not too bad, not super ideal, could probably be changed for something else. Then we've just got lands that tap for every colour, so Exotic Order, Path of Ancestry, or every colour that I need, I should say. Then we've got Spars and Seaside Citadel, and obviously the classic Command Tower. In terms of dual tappers, I have 2 of the bounce lands, I need 1 more. I only have 1 of the pathways, I need the other 2. I have 2 of the pain lands, third one's about to go in, picked that up the other day. I have the 3 temples, and I only have 1 of the shocks. I'm not buying any shocks at the minute, as I keep saying in all my videos, because the shocks are going to get reprinted in the Return to Ravnica at the beginning of next year. Or was it Q1, Q2? Can't remember. But either way, shock lands getting reprinted next year. Get them at that point. Right, let's look at my ramp. So, as I was saying, all my ramp is enchantment based. So, Wild Growth, Fertile Grounds, Wolf Willow Heaven, New Horizons, Gift of Paradise, Overgrowth, and Dawn's Reflection. So not a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ramp spells. Not great, a little light. I would like more. This is not because I need to ramp heavily to get my commander out, because it's 3 mana, but just because it allows me to colour fix as well. These all tap for additional mana. When looking at enchantment lands, don't make the mistake of finding the ones, unless you need them, I guess, because there are certain land auras, enchant lands, that when they tap, it gives the land the ability to tap for one of any colour, not an additional one of any colour, or an additional forest type thing. So just be careful when looking at those lands, they're not all made the same. So yeah, this adds an additional forest, so that adds an additional 2 in any combination of colours. Yeah, so just remember, not all lands or not all cards are equal, as we all know. Let's do removal. As I was saying, I want all my spells in this, not all my spells, but majority of my spells in here to be enchantment based. So we've got Canvas Transformation, which is just the budget version of Song of Dryads. Song of Dryads is a card I need for this deck. I would love to pick one up. It has actually been reprinted in the Commander Masters set, so it probably has chopped in price quite a bit. If it gets below €5 or whatever, then I might pick up a copy, but we'll see what happens. Darksteel Mutation, that's basically another one that's like Song of Dryads, just takes the commander out of the game. Temporary Lockdown, this is great because so many artifacts are 0, 1 and 2 power, so like, yes, it gets rid of each non-land permanent with mana value 2 or less, so as long as you've not got too many of your lands enchanted, so everyone else has an explosive start and you play this on turn 4 or turn 5, you can really reset people quite harshly with this. Yeah, excel each non-land permanent with mana value 2 or less. Yeah, it's pretty good. Just bear in mind, if you've got these on something, they get exiled. Right, and now we're into the bulk of the removal, which is all these type of spells. So we've got Banishing Light, we've got Conclave Tribunal, we've got Parallax Wave and Leyline Binding. Parallax Wave is part of a combo with Opalescence. But it's also just a good removal spell to temporarily get rid of things, because it has Fading 5, so it's not a permanent effect. So yeah, I could do with a little bit more. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces. I mean, none of it's instant speed. Oh, it actually is. We've got Leyline at the Binding, which is flash speed. I think there is also 2 other spells like this. I think I have one of them. Banishment is one. That might be in the box upstairs, actually, Banishment. I think it's an uncommon from a couple of sets back. But yeah, there is a couple that you can do at flash speed, instant speed. But these are all great because they're all non-land permanents. There's a couple that target just creatures. But yeah, non-land permanent. And this, I believe, is non-land permanent. This one is creatures only. Remove target creature from the game. Cool. Yeah. That one's non-land permanents. Enchant creature. So, removal. We need more instant speed removal. So, that's one thing I want to upgrade. Mana and ramp I want to upgrade just to make sure I'm ramping. I can cast multiple enchantments as well on each turn. There's no point in me having 2 enchantresses out if I'm only casting 1 enchantment every turn because I don't have the mana to do so. So I want to be able to go and win game. That's it. That's how you win game. You go you go and you go. That's, somebody does that, they've won. Enchantments themselves. So exploration, play additional lands. So if I draw into too many lands, I'm not flooding out in the sense of I'm holding a load of lands, but I can get them into play. So when I do draw cards off my enchantresses, like, it just helps me. Ground Sealed, just a bit of graveyard gate. Cards in graveyards can't be the target of spells or abilities. It also draws a card when I come to the battlefield, which is great because it draws a card for itself, and then if I've got an enchantress into play, boom. Sterling Grove, just fantastic thing. Give everything you've got. Shroud. Remember, this is all other enchantments you control can't be the target of spells or abilities. So if you have something like Enchanted Evening out and you turn all your permanents into enchantments, Tuvasa then becomes an enchantment. Enchantments have Shroud. You then can't target her with your winning combos. So just be aware of that. Winning combos, winning your win cons, your win condition cards, that type of thing. We've got another Enchantress here. Here's two cards that I love. Mirror Maid and Esther's Invocation. They're just a copy of whatever your best card is on the table right at that moment. Just come in as a copy of it. Here's Opalescence. Absolute fantastic card. Beautiful stuff. Each of the global enchantment is a creature with power and toughness equal to its converted mana cost. Somebody destroys all your creatures but doesn't destroy all your enchantments. This can come down, all of a sudden your enchantments are alive and you can start smashing face. Just remember, if this is on your commander and it also becomes a creature, oopsie. So yeah, Guardian Project, just whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield, you draw a card, it's great. Sphere of Safety, which is good, just try and protect yourself a little bit, and then obviously Enchanted Evening for all the combos I have mentioned previous. One of the things as well with building decks, just in general, is there was a general rule of that you want 30% of your deck to be able to do the thing it needs to do. I need my deck to be able to draw cards so I can go through to find things. I do that by having Enchantresses out of the battlefield, and I do that by playing enchantments. As you can see, I have a lot of enchantments. One thing that makes your Enchantresses better is the fact that if every card you cast is an enchantment, they're going to gain you more value. Yeah? So that's what we want. Before we do the instant sorceries that are not enchantments, we'll do the win cons, so to speak, the enchantment auras that I've got. So we've got all the glitters. This is great, especially if you get Enchanted Evening to play and just all your permanents become enchantments. So all your lands become enchantments, all of a sudden you're swinging in for crazy damage. This is the main win cons. So enchanted creature gets +1 and protection from creatures. So it can't be blocked, creatures can't block it. Yeah? Same with Unquestioned Authority, it's 1 mana more, but draws a card when it enters the battlefield. There is another one I would like to get, which is called Holy Mantle. I'd never heard of this card until the other day when I was on Scryfall and I was doing all my syntax searches, and I was like, right, okay, how can I optimize more? And then I was looking for cards that have protection from creatures, but specifically as an enchantment aura, and obviously Scryfall, you can type T for type, colon, and then what type of card you want it to be, so in this case enchantment. Then you can type O for the oracle text, so the text on the card of what it says, and so you can just type in protection or protection from creatures type thing, and it'll look for cards that have protection from creatures type thing. So yeah, and that's how I found that card. So Scryfall, absolutely beautiful. And the interesting thing is as well, I don't think I saw Holy Mantle when I looked on EDH Rec. And so it's for me, how I'm building this deck, EDH Rec alone would not have given me the information I needed in order to optimize this deck further. So for those of you who are not using Scryfall and not using the syntax searches, I recommend you start getting into it and start using those searches. Right, Snake Umbra, Bear Umbra. First off, they give Totem Armor. Lets you draw a card, untaps all your land for your second main phase, which is great because it means you can attack in, or you can play something big, attack in, come back and play something else big. So yeah. And it also triggers an attack, so should you want to play anything at instant speed, attack, untap, remember your trigger order, and you can do stuff. I could potentially drop these, but I'm not sure. So yeah, but that's not very, those are my two main cards to give her Tuvasa Evasive to get through to deal that lethal damage, because she doesn't have trample, doesn't have anything, so I'm relying on unblockable rather than trying to give her trample and give her all the ways of getting through. So, sorceries and instant spells. So, Idyllic Tutor, search my land for an enchantment. Great. Yes, I'm going to keep it in this deck. Tutoring is good, it's efficient, it allows you to get to the cards that you need in that moment, not just your win cons. If I've got 20 enchantments out on the battlefield and I've got this in hand, yes, I'm going to go and get my Unquestioned Authority or my Spirit Mantle or something like that, so I can put it on Tavasa and swing for the win. Yeah, I'll start swinging to kill people to try and get the win. But if I'm in a state where I'm like, okay, the board's completely locked down, maybe I've got Walking Blister in hand and I'm like, okay, sod it, I'll go and get Iliad, you know, and then we'll try and win that way, you know. Or it could just be that someone's got some stack speed on the board, which is goddamn awful, so I can use it to go and get one of my enchantments to remove that problem. Yeah, could be somebody's playing an Artifact Affinity deck, like get temporary lockdown, shut them off. So just whatever the best card in your deck in that moment is, that's what this is. Settle the Wreckage. This is just great, especially like when, say, somebody's attacking, they attack 3 players at the same time, somebody gets loads of 1/1s, 20 at you, 20 at you, 20 at you, bang, you've saved everybody, you've gained some favour, everybody loves you, awesome stuff. Shared Summons lets you get 2 cards, 2 creature cards with different names. This is great, especially say you have Walking Blister in hand again, so you can get Hilliard and then you can get Alsaid's Life Bounty to help protect that, you know, or you can go and get whatever other bits you need. Like, I have used it in the past before, where after a board wipe and just gone, right, before my turn, do that, I'm going to go and get 2 Enchantresses so I can get them on the battlefield, and then I can start drawing, you know, so I can get straight back in the game. Winds of Wrath, destroy all creatures that aren't enchanted, they can't be regenerated. Tavasa, hopefully the game plan is to get an enchantment on her, so get an enchantment on her, get this, she doesn't die, amazing stuff. There are, sadly, quite a few cards that destroy all enchantments, board wipes, that can get rid of a lot of enchantments, Rampage of the Clans, stuff like that. So this allows you to return all cards from the chosen type from your graveyard to your hand. So, I mean, you could choose creatures, or you could choose enchantments and get them all back to your hand. Yeah, it is sorcery speed, so it's a bit slow, but, you know, we're ramping, we're trying to make mana, so yeah, it's good stuff. There's a few cards like this. There's is it the Open the Vaults one? It gets everything back to the battlefield, but that's for all players, not just you. Right, so that's the deck, a bit of a rundown of the deck. The long boring bit, I guess, but kind of the bit you need to understand in order to understand why I'm doing this. So, Soaring, Signet, Thought Vessel. Yeah, thinking of ditching those 3. Out of the 3, I'd probably ditch the Thought Vessel first, the Soaring and the Arcane Signet not so much. So yeah, those are my first 3 cuts. They're not enchantments, they're artifacts. Blah, don't want artifacts. Eidolon of Rhetoric. I had this in here because it's an enchantment creature. Each player can't cast more than once per each turn. Just hurts myself too much. I've been trying to lower the mana curve in this deck. If I've got an Enchantress out and I've got this out, I can still only cast 1 enchantment, so I can still only draw 1, maybe 2 cards, depending on if I've got my commander out or not. So it just slows me down as well. I can't play through it myself. Stack pieces are good when you can play through them yourself and still do what you need to do, but it slows everybody down. You need them to be one-sided. So that's coming out. Maybe it'll go into some type of CDH deck or something like that I'll try and start to build. Unravel the Aether. This is a solid card. Choose target artifact or enchantment, shuffle into its owner's library, tucks it away, like, so they can't get it back out of the graveyard. They've got to tutor for it if they specifically want that one. So if they've got some type of win con, maybe they're trying to go infinite with a Basalt Monolith or like God knows what, you can just, yeah, tuck that away. It's great. I love it. It's done some work for me, but it's an instant. I don't want the instant. Same with Explore. Play an additional land this turn, draw a card. It cycles. It's not the best of card. It's sorcery speed. Sorcery, I don't want it. Rampant Growth. Migration Path. 2 fantastic cards for ramping. I might regret taking these out, but they're not enchantments. And then finally we've got Sigil of the Empty Thrones, which was another way of me getting more flying in this deck, but it's 5 mana. It's tough to cast something for 5 mana and then capitalise on it, you know, 'cause it's the worst thing in the world to play this and then not actually get around to your next turn to be able to untap. I mean, it's handy having Bear Umbra out on your commander, and then you can cast this on your main phase, attack on your second phase, then untap your lands and play a bunch of enchantments. But we're living in Christmas fairy tale land at that point, you know. If I have this and that on the board and that on the board and nobody interacts with me with any way, shape or form, and I do this, then I can go, yay, it's great. If not, probably not so much. Calyx, I mean, this does do work. It helps you draw into more enchantments or look for specific ones. But the amount of enchantments I'm now having in this deck, I don't know if I actually need it that much. But it is handy to have. I mean, it returns all enchantment cards from your graveyard to the battlefield if you need to do that. So maybe I'll cut that one last as well. We'll see. I don't actually know how many cards I've got to put in. Probably going to sort these by CMC value. So we've got 5, 4. I think that was a 3, and then they're all 2s. I like to cut the higher CMC cards. Once I've found out what cards I'm cutting, I like to cut the higher ones first, just because if I don't replace all of them, at least I've lowered my curve, so I can still cast multiple spells each turn, so it will make my deck feel a bit smoother and play out a little bit better, just in that sense alone. There is obviously instances in that where you might not do that, if you're trying to replace a special win con with something else. But anyway, so yes, great deck, Spencer. You want to do all of this stuff and you want to optimize it. Okay, so I've already highlighted I'm removing some mana. I'm removing some mana spells because they're not fitting in within the restrictions that I am setting myself. I could even say that one as well. So there's potentially 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards coming out that are mana related. So I've got myself an Actol Waste, yeah, which is the pain land that I'm missing for this deck. Great. That would also put me up to 36 lands, which is more likely to be on like 5 lands turn 5, to, maybe even 6 lands on turn 6. I can't remember how much 36 lands it works into terms of percentage. Utopia Sprawl. This is one of the new ones that's been reprinted in the Enchanted Tales. Remember, it taps for an additional 1 mana of a chosen colour. So additional mana, it is important. Yeah, but the only problem is I have to enchant forest. Remember this? So yeah, this is why I need to relook at how many colour pips I've got into everything. I think at the moment I do have enough forest to support having this. So that is my extra ramp to deal with the 6 cards that are coming out. Yes. Right, removal. So I've got Prison Realm that targets creatures or planeswalkers. So this allows me to interact with planeswalkers, which I can do with my non-land permanent spells. So I don't know if 100% if I want this. This is like, yes, it's an enchantment-based removal. It lets me scry one when it enters the battlefield to set up the next draw. So remember, certain enchanters trigger on cast. So you can't cast this, get it into battlefield, scry one, and then see if you want to draw it, because remember to just double check with your enchantress. Some are when it enters the battlefield, in which case you can stack the triggers, but some are on cast. Tuvasa is when you cast. Yeah? So if you've got your commander out, even if your other enchantresses is on end battlefield, you cast, boom, trigger, got to draw that one. Then this enters, then I can scry, then I can draw from the next enchantress. So just, rules matter, guys, rules matter. It's the nuances of things. So that's a maybe anyway. Cast out, this is just obviously deal with an online permanent at instant speed because it's got flash. Also, if you don't need it, it's got cycling, which is not too bad, so it's removal. The reason I want more removal is because I'm playing everything as enchantments, is meaning I'm not having much interaction. So when people start popping off, or in my play groups I see this a lot, is people don't pop off so much in terms of like, oh yeah, I'm doing it, I'm going for the win, I'm going to make a win this turn. They tend to play lots of little pieces and get incremental value, and then all of a sudden on turn 10 they're like, blah, 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 blah. As I said, when blah, blah, blah happens, they tend to win. So yeah, so this is one of the reasons why I want to get more removal and protection and that type of things. Grasp of Fate, it's basically a cast out, deal with non-land permanents, but it's for all 3 players that you're playing against, so that's great. Also, this has just been reprinted in Enchanting Tales, same as this guy's over here. I also really like this art. I don't know who's done this. However you pronounce that. But yeah, I think the original is like a lot more money. Same with Comic Justice. The original printing one is like $7-8, maybe euros. But this one is like pence. So the print matters. And I actually quite like these artworks. Not too far into the realms of cutesy waifu anime, like some of the other crazy stuff. So yeah, removal. Propaganda, just deter people from attacking me, like I've got the Spear of Safety. This was taken out one of my, I think it was my Oloro deck. Tried to remove the amount of stack pieces in that because it was getting a bit too much. So yeah, so I'm going to try putting this in here because most of my creatures, as you saw, they were enchantment-based stuff like Dried Elysian Grove that allows me to mana fix. My Enchantresses, I don't really want to be throwing them under big attackers that are coming my way, so I just want to deter people from attacking me. So propaganda it is. Same with Karmic Justice. If somebody wants to destroy something of mine, I'm going to destroy something of theirs, more likely to point their removal at another player. Yeah? Awesome stuff. So that's kind of like protection, removal. So ramp, protection, removal. Win cons. So I want to add to my win con pile. This gives enchanted creature can't be blocked. Yeah, whenever it attacks, I get to scry one. That's just a nice bonus. It's 1 mana, allows Tuvasa to get through and deal damage. That's exactly what I need. So I've got this one, and I would like to get the Holy Mantle one. So this is definitely going in. The Finest Hour, I'm not sure about this. It's 5 mana, but I have got a 5-drop coming out, so maybe that balances things out. But it's Exalted. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, that creature gets +1/+1 till end of turn. It's nice. Mostly I am just attacking with Tavasa alone. I don't have a lot of other big attackers, as you've seen. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, if it's the first combat phase of this turn, untap that creature. After this phase, there is an additional combat phase. Great. So it gives me 2 combats. So I can attack with Tuvasa, untap her, attacking again. So if I do get up to a 21 power before I give her evasion, I can get this out. Swing, kill one player, untap, swing, kill another player. Yeah, if you play this and you're not ready to try and go for the win, and you will probably get targeted, it will probably get destroyed, because it basically says, I'm going to try and do multiple combat steps to kill you. Okay, so just beware, that might attract some attention. Wargate, this is a sorcery speed tutor that gets your card straight into the battlefield. And it's not just an enchantment, it's any permanent. But in this state of my game, it's probably going to be an enchantment. So you can go fetch that removal spell. So I can cast Wargate for 3 and then Bant. And I can go get that removal spell to come in and do what I need it to do. So don't feel like, oh, this is awful, I need to spend 6 mana to get that card and then get it to my hand and then cast it. No, you're spending the 6 mana to get it straight into the battlefield. Yeah? So, it's good. And remember as well, like, when you cast cards like this, search your library for a permanent card, yeah, X or less, put it into play, then shuffle your library. If this resolves, yeah, they can't then respond to the card coming into the battlefield. They don't know what the card is because you're searching for it. You don't have to name it. So if somebody wants to counter this and stop this, they have to stop it before you pick up your library. So just have the patience to say, right, I'm going to cast Wargate, I'm going to search for a card, it's going to come into play. And if they say, yeah, okay, then you search that card and you put it in play. Yeah? Remember at that point, if it is something threatening like Finest Hour or whatever, so you've dropped 5 mana into this, they will only be able to react to destroy it or things like that as you go into your next step, as you pass priority. So if you're in your main phase 1 and you get this, as you try to pass priority to go into your combat step, they can respond at that point before you go into combat, before it triggers. So just be aware. So yeah, that's what I've got at the minute. There's a couple of other cards that I'm aware of that I really think I want to get to help optimize this and make it run a little smoother. I'll quickly go through those now. Excuse me, I've got my laptop in front of me. Carpet of Flowers, I think is one, but I think that's quite expensive. Let's double check the price on that. Yeah, that's like €12, depending on what printing you've got. No, thank you. That's not going to happen. So we have other lands that give you extra mana. So we've got a Blighted Burgeoning, which is a 3 mana enchant land, gives you an additional mana. I think I've already got the Overgrowth, haven't I? Yeah, I've already got the Overgrowth. So there, I think there is a 4 mana one I don't have as well. So I've got Dawn's Reflection, but there was another one I think I saw when I was looking. Market Festival. Yeah, great things about these types of ramp souls, they are cheap. They are just straight up cheap. Trigger your commander when you cast them, draw a card. Fantastic stuff. And then other ones in terms of like instant speed removal, we've got Banishment, we've got Borrowed Time. There's a couple, you know. So yeah, Detention Spheres, stuff like that. But yeah, I don't want to go too heavy into that. And then obviously in terms of win cons, I want to get the Holy Mantle as well. So yeah. Hopefully what I will see from doing this is that, one, I've probably removed too much ramp, and therefore I'll have to get a few of those extra ramp cards. But I've also got to understand that if I am going down this road of trying to do everything more with enchantments, then I need to understand that, okay, if I want it to be super efficient at this power level, then maybe I do need to play the Rampant Growths, the Cultivates, you know, things like that. So, but I don't want to. I want to give this deck flavour. I want it to be good and optimized, but within the rules and the concepts that I set, that I enjoy. And Tavasa is the first commander deck I ever made. Like, I bought the Precon. I didn't buy it when it came out. I bought it like months later. I think I bought my first commander deck when Theros Beyond Death set was coming out in Standard. And I bought this one because I was like, oh, Theros is coming out. We'll have loads of enchantments. So I'll be able to upgrade the Precon rather easily because I was playing a lot of Standard at the time. And that was my thinking. And I bought it, it went into these sleeves, and I think I probably played it twice in the first year. So yeah, it's just been upgraded over time, and yeah, it's beautiful. I don't think I'll ever take her apart. First commander deck, she'll always have my heart, type thing. But yeah, so how many cards have I got to add in? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Potentially 10 if I add that in. How many cards have I got to remove? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so shall we keep solving in this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We've got 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Maybe we take... okay, what do we keep? Do we keep Arcane Signet or Soaring? Arcane Signet is more colour fixing. Like, Soaring is great on turn 1, but turn 5, is it as good as the colour fixing on that? I think I keep that and ditch the Soaring. But I don't know, by turn 5 I probably have all my colours, so maybe I just want more mana at that point. That pays for command attacks. Yeah, we'll keep the Soaring. We'll keep the Soaring. I'm going to take all these out. I'm going to put all these in. I'm going to go and play some games over the next week or two. And I'm probably going to find, in all honesty, I need either more lands or better ramps. I'm going to have to go pick up a few of those cards I just mentioned. But yeah, I'll let you know how I get on. This is just me trying to optimise this, really, I guess, in the best way I can under, like I say, the rules that I'm setting within it. I want it to be able to cast its commander, get to the higher end stuff easily without using anything other than enchantments. I want it to be able to get through and win with commander damage as its primary focus by being unblockable. I'm trying to optimise that by giving it more of that. I'm using things like Wargate in order to optimise our responses to what's happening on the board. Yeah, same with the removal. So yeah, so that's how the optimization is happening. If that's unclear, sorry, but that's how it's happening. And hopefully me just explaining this and talking through these processes helps you guys understand like the processes and the philosophies behind things. Like if I wanted to, I could just go and buy Academy Rectors and stuff like that and like get loads of like enchantment based tutor cards and just whack them in. Yes, that would optimize it in a certain sense, but it would also power it up because I would be getting my win con more consistently, faster, and that's the difference between powering up and optimizing. So yeah, just I guess some of these cards add a little bit more power, but also I am removing power by sticking to certain constraints. I do think that this deck is always going to be limited in the fact that its interaction is enchantment speed based, and if I'm worried about a threat, I've got to leave up 4 mana, 3-4 mana to cast one of these spells at flash speed. So it's tough. It's tough, but that's what I want to do. That's how I want to play this deck. So if I can sit there and I played this deck on Tuesday gone, which is probably about 2 weeks ago by the time this goes live, and I played it against a gentleman, and he was casting vampiric tutors, demonic tutors, and he pretty much had to throw most of his resources at me to stop me from killing him, because I saw he was a threat, and Tuvasa attacked him twice, and then on the third attack, that's when he was able to interact at the instant speed, which was able to stop me from winning. And he was like, oh my god, that was so close, I'm so glad I did all that. And it was just like, yeah, that's great, congratulations. And then in the back of my head, I'm like, yeah, I didn't win, but I did win. I played 90% enchantments against cards that were tutoring, instant speed removals, all this type of stuff, and it's kind of like fighting with one hand behind your back in a certain extent, and still yeah, I lost, but I won in myself. So, but yeah, so that was good. Enjoyed it. Yeah, optimize your decks, guys. The reason this optimization works as well, I'm ranting on here, is because I understand my win con. I understand how I want to win. I understand how I want to build the deck. Yeah, and that's how I'm able to know that this is optimizing. If you're playing a deck that's, I don't know, not enchantments, affinity for artifacts, and then you're jamming in a bunch of enchantments like propaganda and stuff to stop people from attacking you, okay, is that actually serving a purpose, or is that your deck just going into a different avenue? You've got to be sure of how you want to win, how you want to do things. You've got to have a clear goal, a clear strategy, and that's one of the best ways to build a deck, is to go, right, when you see a commander and it's oh, I want to build, I don't know, Gishath is my dinosaur commander. If I want to build Gishath, how do I want to play him? I've built my Gishath just to purely smash face to be able to flip into dinosaurs. Yeah? If you want to build, I don't know, a CDH deck or something, like a Rograk deck, a Thrasios deck, you're building that deck with the mindset of, right, what's my win con? How do I get to that win con as fast as possible? Yeah? Now, that is CDH level mentality, but you've kind of got to bring a bit of that to go, right, I'm playing this janky commander, or this janky card that I like. I've got a Dynaheir deck and a Gadwick the Wizard's deck. Those aren't super powerful cards, but you can make some really cool decks if you just go, right, this is what I want to do, and I'm going to stick to this game plan. Yeah? My Gadwick deck's just all about drawing cards, cycling through my deck until I get to my winning combo. People often sit there and what are you doing? What are you doing? You're not even casting commander, you're on turn 10. I'm like, hey, I'm just going to keep drawing cards, keep cycling through, scrying, chuck whatever I want in my graveyard. Oh, and bang, I've got to my Icecrown Scepter, I've got Dramatic Reversal, cast those cards, make him a mana, cast Gadwick from entire library, and win the game. Not through Thassa's Oracle, mind you. No. Brainstorm. Yes. So yeah, just have a clear goal in mind of what you want to achieve, and that will help you optimize. I'm not going to say anything else because I'm just ranting, and this video is 40 odd minutes. So thank you guys very much for watching. I really appreciate it. So yes, thank you very much, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye for now.